Hey guys, it's Ketchel. Today we're diving headfirst into some essential motorcycle maintenance. Replacing the battery, changing out the brake fluid, swapping off both wheels in order to replace the tires, replacing the engine oil, and then getting those wheels back on. I'm going to guide you through the process of reinstalling the wheels, adjusting the chains, breaking it down into easy to follow steps. Whether you're a seasoned mechanic or new to bike maintenance, this video is designed to equip you with the knowledge and confidence to handle this task yourself. So let's go. Alright guys, the Ducati Scrambler Desert Sled is back. It's been about 3 years since I last rode it, and it's been sitting in a garage out in Connecticut during that entire time. Today we're working on restoring it to a riding condition, and right off the bat I knew it wasn't going to run when I got here due to a dead battery. So went out to Cycle Gear and got a replacement for that stock Yuasa YT12B BS battery. The process of getting the battery ready to go is straightforward. You'll just have to fill it up with electrolyte fluid, let it drain out, which takes about 30 minutes, and then trickle charge it overnight before putting it back in the bike. Battery compartment in the Ducati is located right beneath the seat, making the replacement super quick. Now the shipping from Connecticut to Washington, where I live now, took about 2.5 weeks, cost me just under $1,000. And I used an open transport trailer through a service called U-Ship. Through U-Ship, I was connected with a great mover. He was super clear about the pickup and delivery schedule, and I couldn't have been happier with the service. After replacing the battery, I gave the bike a quick start, and it sounded amazing. I can't believe I put this thing in storage for 3 years. I took it for a quick spin around the block and immediately noticed that the rear brakes had no braking power. So I've got a few more things to do. I'm going to go ahead and start replacing this brake fluid just to ensure there's no air in the line. And like I said, it's been 3 years and it's probably just a good idea to replace it anyways. This involves going out to get some .4 brake fluid. Use a clear hose for this, empty water bottle, and a wrench to drain out that old fluid. Just pump the brakes a few times and hold it compressed. This time you can open up the drain line on the cylinder and then close it off. Repeat this process and refill the brake fluid reservoir as necessary until the line has been flushed with the new fluid. This process should take about 20 minutes or so. Do it until you feel like that whole line has been flushed. If it looks clean, then you flush the whole line. Now with the brake fluid replaced, it's time to remove the wheels. For this I had to go out and get the Woodcraft adjustable front stand from Cycle Gear, link below. Now I'm removing the wheels as I bought some new Shinko 705 dual sport tires to put on the bike. These tires are about 6 years old, so it's just about time. Now taking off the wheels is easy. The process does get a little bit more complicated when putting them back on. And then once the wheels are off, I just take them to Cycle Gear for the actual tire change. Each wheel cost me about $25, and they were able to do it with one day, as long as I had the tires with me already, which I did. Now with the tire change, I was also able to replace the chain, which has been a long time coming. I put out a video maybe 3 or 4 years back about some chain maintenance, and a lot of the comments were, dude, you should just replace the chain. It's no use anyways. Well, that should solve that problem and should be good moving forward. All right, changing the oil was the next task. The removal of the old oil filter was a little bit challenging, and it did take me a while to find a replacement here locally. It's a K&N 153 for my model Desert Sled, and I was able to find it at an O'Reilly's, link below. I also use Modal's 300V 15W50 oil for the refill. The manual suggests 3.75 liters for the engine. However, I recommend starting with a little bit less to prevent overflowing. That way you don't need to drain it all over again and restart that process. I think I ended up getting about 3 liters in mine before I called it. One other thing to note, you can save some money on this by getting the 4-liter bottle vice the individual 1-liter bottles. I've linked that below as well. All right, so the next day, finally got my tires back from Cycle Gear and was really impressed with their service. I definitely recommend using them for replacing your tires anytime you have to do it. In preparation for reinstalling the wheels, I left the axle on the bike overnight, aligned as it would be once reattached. Reinstalling the wheel was a little bit challenging, particularly getting the brake disc back into the brake cylinder. However, I expect the process will be a lot quicker next time I do it, just with all the experience I gained on this one. Once that's done, you can install the front wheel nut fastener. This requires a 25mm sprocket. Make sure to torque it down to 6.3 Newton meters. Also, the 4 front fork bottom fasteners should be all torqued down to 10 Newton meters as well. Next, I proceeded to install the rear wheel. Before doing so, just clean out the chain adjusters. Over time, they tend to collect a lot of dirt and grime, so it's best to just keep them clean. The process for installing the rear wheel is largely similar to the front wheel, except that the rear brake cylinder needs to slide onto the swing arm instead of being bolted down. Although it's a bit trickier, with some persistence, it's quite doable. Once you've installed the rear wheel shaft and nut fastener, just get it finger tight at this point, remove the bike from the front stand. Then get the chain on, break it to the appropriate length, install your master link, and ensure it's properly lubricated. I'm using a Motion Pro PVR chain tool, link below, and it just makes this process so much simpler. Start out by pressing the block onto the chain slowly. This is for pressing the master cylinder through the chain. The trick for pressing the master link is to double check that it matches the links above and below it while you're doing this. I would take it a quarter turn at a time and always double check myself. I like this process because it gives you a good idea of how far you need to press the master link in. Just be cautious during this process, especially with the O-rings. They might bind and they'll give you a good indication if you've gone too far. After pressing the master link, you can now rivet the master link. I recommend using a ruler to double check your work and prevent over riveting, which could lead to a broken rivet and require you to start over. I would go about an 1/8 turn and always double check myself. Although my chain did not come with any specifications for riveting, you should aim to make the new rivet similar in size to the existing ones to the left and right. Once you've successfully installed a chain, check and adjust its tension as necessary. For a Ducati on the desert sled, there should be about a 45 to 50 millimeters of slack between the top and bottom of the chain at the center of the chain. Finally, torque the rear axle to 145 Newton meters, and with that, your tire replacement and chain installation is complete. That's it for today, guys. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Catch y'all.